Back. Motorists have until the end of August to renew their licenses, but with the online system having problems and causing delays, can we expect motorists to be granted another extension? ENC's Linda Ugushikulu following that story for us, joining us now for the latest this hour on the Midday View. What's happening, Linda? What can you tell us?
Well, President, we can tell you that the extension of that grace period is ending at the end of August. That is on the 31st of August. And many people are asking themselves whether it will be extended because of many complaints that have been issued out to many of the leaders in terms of the issues around renewing these licenses. And I can tell you today that we did go to the Minister, the MEC of Transport in Gauteng. He conducted an unannounced visit at one of the DLTC stations, and that is in Hammanskraal, and I can tell you that there are still those problems lingering. In fact, when he was entering that particular place, many of those that are applicants that were waiting to try and get a sense of whether their licenses have been issued out yet or not in terms of the renewal process, they did complain about having to come back to these stations many times. So at the end of the day, there is a question of whether there will be an extension or not. There hasn't really been any announcement of that from the National Department of Transport, but I can tell you that there are plans to actually have these DLTCs, these renewal places to actually work over the weekends. But as far as that announcement, it hasn't come. But one thing is for certain is that the MEC of Transport in Gauteng has admitted to say that it's unlikely that many people would have in fact met the deadline. And he says that beyond this, they are expecting that many will still have their expired licenses, and they're saying that they'll be looking at ways in terms of trying to find solutions around that. But as it stands, it doesn't seem like many people will have renewed their licenses by that deadline.
So an extension is likely, I guess. Even the motorists will say, but we haven't been able to access. We think we could speculate and say the likeliest outcome could be an extension.
We can certainly speculate, Praten, because one of the things we have encountered when we went to that particular DLTC in Hammanskraal in Themba, I can tell you that there were many problems. Firstly, with the processes that they have. For example, there are only 3 working stations that are functional out of 8, and they're saying that this is because of the equipment that they've been given. It has been serviced, but unfortunately it keeps on breaking down, and they're saying there's also an issue with some of the licenses being rejected and people having to reapply for that process, saying that there is a disconnect between the service provider who makes the licenses as well as themselves and their systems that would send the fingerprints, would send the photos, but then it comes back and says that those photos are not meeting the standard required. And these are photos and these are fingerprints from their own machines. So there are a number of issues that the MEC has cited, saying that they need to do an in-house overhaul in terms of the systems that are there, the equipment that they have, but they are saying that it's unlikely that in Gauteng motorists will be will have complied with their renewed licenses, saying that the process needs to be looked at. And while they are expecting to hear from the National Transport Minister in terms of what will be happening with this process and the speculated extension, they will also be working behind the scenes. We understand that over the weekends these license centers will be open, but at the end of the day he cited the fact that there are systematic problems that even existed before COVID-19, and he says that if they look at those first, then they will be able to be confident in completing some of these license renewals that are still outstanding, as we understand.
Thank you very much, Linda Ugushikulu. I guess we're going to have to wait to see when that announcement will be made about a possible extension, but we are just speculating at this stage.